So we find ourselves probably middle of the night, and we see the Archon, Mason Cassidy, standing in an abandoned warehouse that was pointed out to him. He was given the address by Sabina, who is looking to take him up on those firearms lessons. We find Mason kind of stacking up like empty bottles, and just kind of like little wooden, almost like targets, almost just setting them up along a wall, and just getting ready for, I guess, teaching a 15-year-old how to shoot a gun. So Mason's just standing around after he set that up, and is just sitting, waiting, just on his phone for Sabina to arrive.
Yeah, she'll arrive. When she does, she's quite hurried and apologizes for being late. It's like, sorry, I had the second night, I almost got caught, and
It's all
stay
right.
still.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm busy, but I don't have. It's not gonna ruin my night if you're a few minutes late. It's okay.
I'm usually really punctual, I promise.
Don't worry about it.
Is it like just like glasses and stuff?
There's like empty glasses, yeah, like empty wine bottles, beer bottles, that kind of thing. Just
she has flashbacks to the second episode of Life is Strange.
I'll
tell you afterwards.
Okay. So Sabina, I guess, seeing as Bob gave you a gun, it's probably sensible that you learn how to use it. And
right.
I don't know if Bob does. I've never seen Bob use a gun, so I don't know if he's the best teacher for you.
Okay.
So it's not too complicated, but it requires a bit of focus, because I guess I can't stress this enough. If anytime you pull that trigger at someone, if it's regardless of whether it's self-defense or not, someone could be dying, and that's not something to do or consider lightly. So it really should be a last resort, only if you have to. I don't mean, if I sound condescending at any point, do tell me, because I don't mean to. I don't mean to at all.
Yeah, no, it's condescending. I get it. I do. It's not treating it like a toy. I'm treating it seriously. I mean,
it's good.
Like I told you my situation. Like,
yeah,
literally. My half brother misheard me and thought I said someone following, and he swerved the car as if like we were in a chase scene or something. Like, even though we're in control at the moment, they're still so paranoid that there's going to be a hit on us any day.
Well, then.
So it wouldn't harm to be a little prepared.
Of course. Protect yourself, protect your family. I get it. Well, in that case, and then Mason pulls out his own gun, and he just kind of stands up kind of straight, and he positions himself in a proper stance, and is pointing out like, you want to keep your feet like a shoulder widths apart, give yourself a good base, and keep both hands on the gun for more stability. Because when you fire it, there is going to be a bit of a kick, and it's going to hurt your shoulders a bit. For at least for the first few times, you'll get used to it. But there is a bit of a kick, and then you aim, and then he kind of aims down at one of the bottles, and with a stance, pointing the gun, and then fires, and the bottle explodes, shatters. So
Shut.
I think that's just a demonstration. Now it's your turn.
I'll try not to move it above my head the second it's shut, like I did to the other night. And she'll, like, get into the stance. It feels weird for her holding it with like two hands. I think he said it was like a revolver, so not the pistol that I have, but it's like a little revolver. So it kind of feels odd to her holding it with two hands. She's trying to kind of get used to it and focus it as she tries to line up. But to be fair, she's more focusing on not doing the flinch and jolt the hand as it shoots. That's the main thing, not so much aiming.
Mason would just be standing behind you and just kind of watching. Okay, take the shot whenever you're ready.
Don't rush me. And she'll take a couple of breaths and she'll shoot it, and she is still quite a flinch, but it's not as bad as yesterday, but it's still probably a bit more.
Hey, that was good. You were close.
How old were you when you learned to do all this?
I was 20, 21. So it's been about nearly 10 years.
Nice.
It takes time. It takes practice. I mean, you were close. That was a good first shot. And look, the gun flying up, he's not exactly giving you a low-powered gun there. Revolvers are particularly high-powered and have a bit more kick. So they require a bit more force to control. That's not your fault. That's just the nature of the gun.
Okay.
Compared to something like this, and he's just got like a semi-automatic kind of standard kind of pistol, which it's like this doesn't have the kickback that a revolver would have. It's a bit more streamlined and it offers you a little bit more control. But what you've got there, that kick does also mean that it has a lot more force going down range, so you're more likely to knock someone down in one shot, which is really what you're after if you have to use it. If you have any questions, please ask. But
like, if I had to shoot someone, I think I saw it's probably like some fucking BuzzFeed article or some shit, but they said that you should really aim for the torso as it's the biggest thing. Is that true?
I mean, if you aim for the torso, you're more likely to hit.
To hit it, yeah.
Yeah. There's always going to be a higher chance of missing if you aim for smaller parts like the arm or the head. It's always going to be more difficult because it's a smaller target. So if you just want to hit someone, then the chest and like the torso is the place to hit to aim.
Yeah. So why do you hit? Would you aim for the arm to disarm them? Is that?
Yeah, if you wanted to immobilize their shooting arm, then you'd shoot them in the arm. They'd struggle to hold the gun.
It must be so hard to kind of aim. Like, sure, like the legs would be easier to aim for than the arm, surely, in that situation.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's a lot of this kind of thing is very situational, but also if you're ever in a firefight, it's very high octane and there's a lot of adrenaline, and often you don't think things through as much because it's all just happening. You hear the ringing of the guns firing and feel the bullets passing over you or near you. It's honestly, it's a difficult situation for anyone to be in because
Mm,
you don't know what's going to happen, right? When
right.
when you fire or when they fire.
I can barely imagine. I mean, as you said, the adrenaline rush was more than palpable, and we were two blocks in the car, and we could still hear that shit going down.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Hey, and hopefully you won't be in too many situations where you have to use it.
quite.
But if you are,
No harm being safe.
make sure you are. You've got to make sure you know how to use it. All right,
Okay.
now go again.
Okay, I'm going to try for that one.
Okay.
And a little bit further away, but it can again, she's kind of trying to give herself time to kind of restance, breathe, and just really focus on down the line. So okay. And she'll shoot.
Okay. Do you want?
Uh,
Would it hit?
if you want, I've got more or less my stats. So if you want to roll for me and tell me what to roll, I can't tell
You
you.
can. You can roll. You can roll.
I ain't got no dice.
Okay. Well then, tell me. Tell me what your stats are.
What do you need?
It would be a dexterity firearms.
0 firearms. Free dexterity.
So with 0 firearms, does that make it a -1?
It'll be a minus. Oh, don't know what.
Yeah.
It's
Let me check
minus
my character
something.
sheet. Yeah, it's -1. So how
Okay. Oh,
much
it's just
dex?
mental ones. 3.
3.
So
So
two.
that'd be 2 dice. All right. Let's see if you hit. You got 1 success. So we'll say it does hit. It does hit. So, but it hits kind of,
At the top.
yeah, like
Just.
you hit like the top off of the bottle. You hear you hear the top of it shatter and the glass hit the floor. And Mason just nods. Good.
Close. I mean,
I mean,
that's.
you hit
I don't
it.
know.
You hit it.
Like a trick shot. Like that's like grazing somebody.
Thing is, with that, with what you've got there, grazing someone is grazing a person with that is enough to stagger them, let alone get them off their feet. Yeah,
Okay.
you, high powered revolvers like that, they have a lot of stopping force. So, if you shot them in the shoulder, they'd probably there's a higher chance they'll probably just like fly back, almost like sling back, and they get staggered and stunned for a moment because of that immense power that's pushing them. Right? It's not just a hit; it's a push as well with that kind of gun. So
Right.
that kind of shot, even just hitting them, even if it's not exactly where you want it to hit, will still help in keeping yourself safe just for that little bit longer. Now,
Have you had to deal with many gunfights in Crucible?
in Crucible, um, I've been in some altercations where guns were used, but I never had to get my gun out. The benefit of doing some of the things that I can do is that I can kind of close that distance and before they get a chance to fire. And killing wasn't always the best option.
That's good to hear.
Uh,
Even though that they're trying to, well, shoot and kill you, that you'd rather disarm them and find another way. That's good.
well, it's at the time, I think it might come back to bite me in the ass.
Were they not supposed to see that kind of thing?
I mean, they ended up dying anyway.
Oh,
There was someone. There was other people there, but I tried to show mercy to vampire hunters, and well, now we're trying to fight vampire hunters, and they're getting more bold and attacking more of us in the streets. And now I'm, so maybe my mercy was misplaced. But that's, at the time, well, I thought it was the right decision. Killing doesn't always have to be the right answer. The killing doesn't always have to be the way forward for you. I mean, hey, you can, if they're close enough, you could just punch them and they'd be down on the ground, unconscious. In what you can do.
That's a good thought, actually. Yeah.
I feel
Enough time to run away or climb up another building.
Exactly. I feel sorry for any person who wants to try and fight you and are close enough within hitting distance, because they're going to be in for a rude awakening when a 15-year-old girl knocks them clean on their ass like that.
Oh no. Can't slam anyone into lockers anymore, damn it. I might bend them in half. I don't do that. Don't worry, I'm not that cliche.
Nothing about you really reads cliche, Sabina. You're very unique in a good way.
Thank you.
Now,
okay.
Fire once more at the bottles, and then I've got one final test for you.
One final test. That sounds very final. Okay.
Shoot. Try and shoot. And he points out one of the hardest bolts to hit. Try and hit that one.
Okay. She again takes a few moments, just breathing. She doesn't take as long as before, though. Like, she's kind of getting the hang of it, and there's not so much tension before she shoots as there used to be before. She's getting a little bit more just not relaxed, but prepared without stiffening up as much.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll
nice.
see.
Well, you got 2 successes.
Woo!
So you hit the bottle dead on in the center. It explodes, and the glass hits the floor. And Mason just puts a hand on your shoulder. Excellent shot. That was really
excellent teaching. Thank you.
It's not all that difficult once you kind of get an idea of what you're doing. It's pretty straightforward. But that was really good. You're definitely getting the hang of this.
Still feels so weird to hold it in my hands, though, but
it's got
that's all calm. That's all calm.
Yeah, it comes with time, and it's got a bit of weight to it. That one.
I know, especially like it looks so dinky compared to your pistol. I thought the pistol would be like have more of a kick than this little thing.
Well, the thing is, it's got more of a. And Mason almost goes into a talk about like gun mechanics almost, where he's like, well, within the frame, you've got like a firing mechanism that kind of reduces the recoil and the kickback of the gun, whereas revolvers like that don't really. They're just a bit more of a, what you see is what you get. There's not much of a mechanism underneath within the actual construction. It's more of a modern gun kind of more of a modern gun thing where they have that kind of firing mechanism within it. So that's why. It's just that Bob's giving you an older gun, which doesn't surprise me, to be honest.
Right.
I still find it hilarious whenever he talks about the internet.
Oh.
There was one particular situation he wanted to give someone a gift. He baked them a cake. And then he went on a bit of a rant about how everyone on the internet loves cake. So he thought that would be a really good idea. Turns out, and just for the situation, it wasn't exactly appropriate for the situation. But he was very confused, and it was really he means well when he wants to.
He tries. He tries.
He does. He does. He
He
then asked me if he thought it would be if it would have been a better idea if he bought them a kitten.
he did say, "Oh."
Uh,
Just the thought of him, like, he'd have to look after the kitten until he gives it to them.
I don't know if he'd grasp that part, but who knows?
I don't know. I can imagine him watching them play with catnip and really enjoying it. And maybe he'd be making the cat videos. He'd make the next viral one without realizing it.
He might. He he does have a certain kind of, and I say this with all the best meaning, weirdness to him to kind of pick up something like that. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Nah, he's. How did you meet, by the way?
I told you. I
Oh
was
yeah, was it? It was in
in
the
like
warehouse. Oh yeah.
it wasn't a warehouse. It was like this old kind of theatre, like
Oh, okay.
community drama school kind of place.
Right.
Me, Brendan, and another friend, we were just there
Right.
scouting for like a good place to party because that's kind of what we do. We find a
Yeah.
cool abandoned place, and we were looking around, and me and my other mates were just taking pictures, modeling, while Brendan was upstairs. He's like a wannabe DJ, so he was trying to kind of get the sound system to work. The lights didn't really work, but the sound system did. It worked really well. We were taking pictures, weird orbs and shit, and then went upstairs to see Brennan. He wasn't there anymore. Didn't think anything of it. Maybe he went elsewhere. But when he took more photos of me, he froze and saw something in the background. It was Brennan's body. And we went down to Brennan's body, shook it, head moved, but no blood. Like, it didn't look real. Like, those Halloweeny things, that's what it looks like. It
Yeah.
looks like that. And obviously, like, you move it. I thought it was like a weird prank or something at first, because, my other mates went. Then the doors, windows all seemed to disappear. And then there was Bob, red eyes and everything. He fed off of my other friend. Didn't kill my other friend, but he fed off of him. And then he grabbed me, did that creepy voice thing that he does. And then we just fucked the hell off out of there.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Brennan was a good kid. They just think he's run away. It's weird. It's really weird.
You seem to be handling that surprisingly well.
I mean, let's see, what else am I supposed to do? I almost grabbed his phone, but I left it there because when me and my mate left, I called the cops. I said anonymously, that number that makes you do it anonymously. I did it like that because I don't want the police to come to my place and ask questions. That wouldn't go down well.
Yeah.
But I said, we were just playing around and a friend sounded like they got hurt and lost there. But I don't think they ever searched it, honestly. Like, his phone, like, I left his phone there as at least something, like, maybe, but not. Everybody just think he ran away. Just that he'll be back. Nothing to worry about. And me and my mate, I know, like, we know what happened. We know, we both know what happened. We just don't really talk about it. How do you come to terms with that? And I mean, what am I supposed to do? Have Bob in prison? Like, no. Past that. I mean, just try not to think about it too much. It's just weird.
Mason just puts like a comforting hand on you.
Nah.
I'm sorry that happened.
He enjoys the theatrics of it all, doesn't he?
He makes the most out of his abilities to appear and disappear and change his appearance.
Yes.
It was very the first month that I knew him, it took a while to get used to. Just him, because he would always show up out of nowhere and just either place a hand on my shoulder from nowhere or just talk into my ear from behind, you know?
uh,
So I'm just standing there waiting, and then I just hear, Mason. I'm just like,
yes, yes, fucking yes. Okay. Second time, he didn't look like himself. He looked, said, like this cute guy in Greece that, like, literally, he was talking about to me as like he was obsessed with Greece, had leather jackets and stuff. That's why I said jacket, because I did have it on and I took a photo of it. And it
okay.
was all lovely, talking about baking this car and everything. And he left. And as he went to the door, he looked at me and then was like, Sabina, are you afraid of the night? And then he disappeared into mist. I'm like,
Wow.
it's more chill now. He just wolf whistles at me, and I didn't realize it was him, so I just carried on until he is like in my peripheral vision. How does he get that voice? Did he ever
that
convince
voice.
me?
I don't think so. I think
It takes more than
that's
cigarettes to get that voice.
part of his embrace, like when he was made one of us. So yesterday we were talking about like the different clans, right?
Mm.
And he's a Nosferatu. Nosferatu, whenever they are embraced, Nosferatu always have something that's slightly off physically about them.
Mhm.
It could be, Bob's for Bob, it's his red eyes and his voice and how he, and he appears very indeterminate in his appearance. There are
Do
a lot. Sorry.
do those red eyes, like, they always blind me? Like, they're so red. I've got something for you. Like, if it gets too much for you, and she gives him literally these glasses. I think it, and if you have meetings and it's just like, I don't know. Do you guys get headaches? They're so bright, it almost gives me a headache. But just
I'm used to it at this point. It's not too bad. And most of the time he wears glasses, so it's okay. He wears like
okay,
just sunglasses, so it's okay. But
cool.
yeah, I'll
Mhm.
I'll definitely give those to him as a gift from
I
Sabine.
meant for you, so you don't have to
I'm sorry. I'm
be
sorry. But
blinded. But if you want to give them to,
I'm
oh
sorry.
Jesus
And
Christ!
he holds up the heart-shaped glasses. Can you imagine how hilarious it would be with him wearing these?
I don't know if he'll forget. Like, he's still harping on about the, like, blow up sofa. I don't know if he'll ever forgive me for that.
That,
I didn't realize he was such a fashion critic, but okay.
I mean, we've we've just met on beaches with like he's like we met on the beach outside the power plant. And he just had sunbeds just laid out for us for our meeting, like our business meeting.
Oh my god, he has an aesthetic, doesn't he? Oh, I love it.
I don't know if I should be telling you
Oh,
any of this, but screw it.
I like it. That's really cool. And sunbeds for vampires. Oh.
I know the irony.
What
Um,
came first, though? Nosferatu film or the name Nosferatu for the clan? Like, do you think they were called something else before the film?
I
Because it was a
don't.
film, wasn't it? Because
Yeah, but I think I know of one of a vampire who's been around for a few thousand years. I would imagine the clan came before the film.
I'm sure the clan, like, I'm saying maybe they
Oh,
were called something else. Yeah.
I don't know for sure. I've only um, been one for 3 years, so
Mm.
uh, comparatively, I'm quite new to it all. But uh,
Mm.
I don't know too much about the history. But like, I would still guess that Nosferatu was the clan before the film. But anyway, I have one final test for you.
Okay, one final test.
And just stay there. And then Mason walks down the range. And he stands there.
Are you gonna do your fast moving thing and like catch the bullet, or am I actually gonna shoot you?
I want you to aim for my head.
Well, it hurt you. Like, I know the healing thing, but
It won't hurt.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. It feels so bad. And yeah, chill.
He's just going to be standing there. He's going to nod at you. And it's like, I will be okay. Don't worry.
Okay. She thinks about it, and again, like you can see, it's like after how not, she was getting used to not being tense. There's a bit of a shake at the thought of it,
He's just
even though she's being assured.
he's
It's
just going to
okay.
stand there and wait for you to kind of relax a bit. He's going to, you've seen what I can do. You know I'll be okay. All right, but take your time.
And deep breaths, and she'll keeping her eyes. She's like, I'm not looking away. She'll shoot.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to roll.
High difficulty, no doubt for this.
So you got one success, but
Okay.
Mason is going to use his, I think it's discipline, that's called what's it called? It's called Quicken Sight. So basically for him, like time slows down. It's basically Neo in the Matrix, right? It's bullet time.
Oh hell yeah.
And so the bullet, also with that one success, it's going straight for his face. But what Quicken Sight does is it adds my defense to the firearms thing. So you'd have to beat a 7. You'd have to get 7 successes to actually hit him. So what you see is the bullet goes to his face, and he kind of like almost like Matrix style, just kind of like leans backwards, and the bullet just goes like just above his face,
Jesus.
and it
Basically,
hits one of the wooden boards in the back.
oh,
Good.
yeah, okay.
That was good. You were dead on. I told you I'd be fine. All right.
Good.
That was a, for anyone who couldn't do that, you would have just stopped that threat. All right.
Yeah.
And that's the final lesson I wanted to give you this at least this session. I don't know if you wanted to any more, but is that you can, it's difficult shooting at a person, right? It's difficult, and if you can fire at someone who you were just joking around with and nearly killed them, for someone who's actually a threat to you, I just wanted to make that a little bit easier for you, because I know it's difficult. I still struggle with it. Not as much as I did, but unfortunately I've gotten used to it.
Thank you. It
It was a good
makes me
shot.
feel better to hear it.
It was a good shot.
Thanks. And that's Jesus, seeing that. Words can't describe that. As I said, Matrix is trash now. You've ruined it for me. It'll never be as good as that.
I mean,
Jeez.
it may be trash, but I mean, well, that bullet scene may be trash in comparison, but it's still got some great fight scenes in it.
Sure.
And it's got Keanu Reeves, who's amazing.
Fair point.
Okay. All right.
So, do you ever get into a gunfight with Kindred? Because doesn't seem like it'll do much.
It takes a bit more. It takes a bit more to take a Kindred down, but if you shoot them enough, they'll go down. You punch them enough, they'll go down. It just takes a lot more, you know. So I've never got into a gunfight with Kindred, but I'd like to think that if I did, I could hold my own, and it would be okay. But yeah, we generally don't use guns on each other.
Mhm.
Most kindred fighting, it's either brawling if mainly for the gangrel, is what's is typical, or it's bureaucracy and and
Mean Girls on meth.
yeah, pretty much. It's corporate mean girls
Uh,
and yeah, and real estate mean girls. It's rough.
how many other kindred are involved with like, people gang stuff? Is it just
I don't
Reed
know.
and
I don't know. I can think of maybe.
does that mean like, mm, my uncle's mob people are going against another mob owned by like another kindred? Is that a thing?
I don't know. I don't know. I think whatever happens, it's very rare for unheard of, very uncommon for a kindred to take direct action in their um, in any kind of organization that they control. They usually run it from the shadows, from the background, because
Okay.
the more that we expose ourselves like that, the more we risk breaching the masquerade. Did Bob tell you about that?
Uh, mm, not familiar term.
The masquerade. That's basically it's the main vampire law, the main
Okay.
kindred law, and breaking the masquerade is basically revealing yourself to a non kindred.
Keeping vampire secret. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know that.
keeping
I didn't
vampire
know.
secret. Cool. It's called the mass. That keeping us a secret is called the masquerade, and breaching it is the greatest crime we any of us could commit.
You
And
love
I'm
the fancy words.
yes, but yeah. So do you feel a bit more confident with using a gun now?
Definitely more so than before by a long shot, but no, I think
It takes some getting
more
used to.
practice.
More practice,
Absolutely.
more practice,
Yeah.
and I mean, I'll leave that stuff set up over there so you can come by and practice whenever you want. You know the basics. If you want more live target practice, so to speak, you can call me.
Thank you. I feel bad calling like, hey, can I shoot you in the head for like an hour?
No one said anything about shooting me. Just shooting at me.
Okay, I know, but that's not what it looks like. I know that I won't, but still, it's like, ah. Do you know?
If I was really mean, I could have let you just shoot me and just taken the bullet. I thought I'd spare you that.
Tell you what, I think the hand looked bad enough. I don't want to
Yeah,
imagine like your eyes no, no.
yeah, no.
Don't
I,
want to imagine seeing that. No, thank you.
I don't think it would be that bad, but I wouldn't ask you to do that. Don't worry.
Don't want to see it. Tanya told me that Live Leak was a horror film site. I'm not falling for that shit again. I don't want to see that shit again.
Live link. Oh no. Why would you go on there?
She told me it was a horror site for like, found footage horror films.
You know
I
not
thought it
you know not
I
to take
thought
her
it was
word now.
fake. I know not to take a word, I know. We used to hate each other, but we're besties now.
Good.
We've
Good.
made up.
Good. It's
Cool.
yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, I remember. What you in high school, yeah?
Yeah, sophomore.
Sophomore year. No, I remember sophomore year.
How was yours?
Quiet.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know if you know if I don't know if you could guess, but I was not the most popular or vocal kid.
Oh.
Uh, I was the kid that was the student that was sitting towards the back of the class quietly. Um, the teacher would ask a question, and I would, if I knew the answer, I would write it down. I wouldn't put my hand up, but just so that I guess I just didn't have the confidence to say anything. So that's it was a quiet time. It was a quiet time, and
Did you ever come out of your shell at all? Like even like junior year or seniors?
not really. No, I just a very awkward kid. Very quiet, and some I think that still comes across. I'm very awkward. um, it's okay to agree with me because I'm very aware.
Yeah, but okay, I wouldn't say. Listen, I find it endearing, and it's like the fact you're aware of it is like good. Like you don't need to be ashamed or apologize for it. Like just embrace it.
Yeah,
Imagine if everybody walked around just super confident. That would be just.
it would be unbearable.
It would be. It
So,
really would be.
so what are your plans? Like, what do you want to do?
Okay. So I obviously I don't really know what to do in this kind of life. Like I'll continue,
The good thing about
delivering
yeah,
what Bob wants me to deliver, but I
the good thing about your
I
situation is that you can still have your life.
yeah. Yeah, that was the first thing I asked. Is like, can I still go to school and shit? And he was like, yes. He's like,
Yeah.
okay. It's summer holidays, so I model, and
Okay.
I've had some I've had the most amazing gig the other night. I can't really say anything until it's like out there, but I said I will show you when it's out, because I mean, so the things we did on that shoot, I mean, 40 story building. I'm not saying anymore. I should have even said that, but it was
40-story
so
building.
40-story building. Like,
Did you go
you
to the
know,
top of it?
it I was like on the it's still being built. I'm not saying
Oh,
anymore.
wow.
It was really like
That
exhilarating, and
sounds intense.
it was, but in the best way. Like, I know it was nice to just not be just a clothes hanger for a change, because
Yeah.
everybody thinks, oh, modeling's so glorious, but I'm like, no, you are like the lowest person in that room. Okay, if you're a model 9 times out of 10, you're a prop, right? So to be back in like a proper, fully creative one, like a proper arty shoot. I mean, I know the clothes are the most important thing still, but it was exhilarating and just so fun, and I don't know,
Yeah.
I liked the directions it pushed me in, so I want to continue with that.
Nice.
And and hey, if I stay looking like this, I might have a longer shelf life as a model, because you usually retire by 25, because then you're old.
I don't think that'll be a problem for you.
No.
Well,
But I
I'm glad that
wanted
you've
my
got.
growth spurt, though. That's the only thing I'm gutted about.
I mean, to be fair, you are tall for a 15-year-old.
I know. I think I just about make it if I ever want to do highway. Just, but sometimes they change it each year.
I
Like
think
if they change it to 6 feet, I'm not going to ever be able to do that, and that
you know
sucks.
what? I think that would suck. I think it's it's painful that it's that superficial that if you're not tall enough, you can't make it.
Like you can make it in other ways, whether it be like commercial modeling or like, you could just be like a hand model
I feel
or
like
like just an ear model or a foot model. But if you
yeah,
want to do runway stuff, which I don't know, I want to do it at least a couple of
yeah,
times, you have to be like sometimes they let people in who 5'8", but it's usually between 5'9" and 6'1" for women.
right, yeah,
6 foot to 6'3" for men.
okay. Well, I wouldn't make that then. It's just miss it. I'm 6'4".
Oh,
So, but
secret pieces.
I don't think I'd ever have the confidence to model. Jesus. Can you imagine? I'd be like nervously looking out the entire time. I'd have no composure.
I'm gonna have to teach you to do the catwalk at some point. I'm gonna have to teach you.
Oh no,
Yeah,
what have I
you
done?
don't look at anybody. It's just straight ahead. You don't look at anyone. They're looking at you. You know they're looking at you, and it's like, nope. I'm just straight ahead. Walk, no swing of the hips. I don't know why they do it. Everybody in like the films and shit, they always sway the hips. It's like, no, straight. Just yeah. It's like, why are you doing that? It's
Seems
like,
ridiculous.
yeah. You don't know. It's you keep your hips straight as you walk. You let your arms swing naturally, and then go straight to the end, looking forward. Then square like your legs, like step, and then you turn. You don't do this weird kind of like I don't know, U shape that they do. That's not I mean, sure, if you're an Instagram model, but that's like Instagram modeling's different. Actually,
Yeah,
kind of pays better, but never time.
yeah.
I can rant about that. I can rant about that for days.
Well,
Uh,
I'm glad you've got something that you enjoy and that you can get
mm,
and that you can do.
yeah. It's what brought me to America, actually. My
Really?
uncle and my dad didn't want me to come here.
Oh,
They wanted to, set things up, but I managed to get into an agency, and then that is what managed to persuade them to let me come.
is all your family here? Or
No, my uncle's here, my brother Fabian's here, my half brother's here, but my mum and my mum's back home in Poland with Monica, other cousin, but she yeah, and our newest little like 6-month-old little brother.
oh wow.
Yeah, they come back to visit, but it's just like when things are properly settled, then she's coming.
Yeah, yeah. You want
It's
to make sure
just
that things are set up and secure
and
and
safe, and
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
the American dream. Do you still keep in touch with like friends from high school or family or anything?
I haven't talked to my friends from high school in years. I mean, a couple of us joined up with the military together.
Oh,
Um, one of them's he's doing fine, but yeah. Um,
do you
and
still keep in contact? Like even if it's just like once or twice a year? That's still nice. Little touch
loosely, but not as much as I should.
you'd like.
Yeah. And family. Uh, I mean, I've recently got back into contact with my sister after months.
What's she like?
She's very confident. She's very supportive as well, though. Witty, but mm,
Younger, older sister?
older.
Older.
She,
Oh, ever stood
yeah,
up for you when you were in high school?
yeah, she did. We were, she was, we looked out for each other, and she was. We were there for each other when, while we were growing up, and then, I guess people just grow apart. Things happen, and just I went my way, and she wasn't exactly happy about it. But she didn't want me to be a PI.
No.
No, I guess it's dangerous. She was worried. We lost contact, but yeah, as I said, we recently got back into contact. But
How was it though after that time apart?
at first, it was good. It was great to talk to her again. I missed her, but then I don't know. With everything that's going on in the city at the moment, it's crazy, and I'm trying to convince her to leave the city for a little bit, at least until things die down. I don't want to get caught in the crossfire, and especially if
No.
these hunters know who we are. We don't know if they
Yeah.
do, but they might. And if they do, then they might know. They wouldn't take a lot of digging to find out who I'm related to. I don't want that. I don't want her
A
to be
hun-
put at risk because of me, for
No.
something that she has no idea about. But hey, that's my issue. And haven't seen my mom in ages. I need to see her.
Yeah.
I
At
need to
least
see
give
her.
her a phone call.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
Is she in the city too, or is she out?
yeah. She's in the city. And he just kind of checks his phone to look at the date. She must be either nearly out of rehab or out at this point. I need to see her.
What a brilliant thing to come out to, though. Definitely.
Yeah. I guess that's, for me, it's one of the worst things about this, is that they can't ever have a proper relationship with me again.
There's got to be ways around it to a point. Or
To a
even if
point,
it's
yeah,
just.
but eventually it gets, when I can only see them in the night. I don't know. It gets difficult for them. They've got lives. They've got things they need to do, and need to sleep. There was one time that I was worried, so I called my sister, which for me seemed like it was fine,
Oh.
but I accidentally called her I woke her up at like 3 in the morning.
Oh.
Didn't go over
Oh, no,
well.
no,
It didn't
no,
go
no,
over
no.
well. I don't know. That's yeah. It's one of the hardest things about this, and he just you see Mason just kind of, he looks almost like off, like almost in thought, but not, and he's just kind of like has like a contemplative glare, and one of his fists is clenched. Uh, yeah, it just it's not easy when you've deprived your
No.
family of that.
No.
So
But
I'm glad that you don't have to do that.
thank you. I'm I said to be fair, he did, despite the threats, he did give me a choice in this. Even if he didn't tell me all of the drawbacks. There's some credit,
But he
some
gave,
sprinkled amongst it all.
I'm glad he gave you a choice because not everybody gets that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't,
But
but
yikes.
I'm glad you did.
Were you like me first, or did you go straight into?
I went straight into it.
Did you know them?
No, no.
Jeez.
It was no.
Oh no,
It's a kind of heavy story.
you don't have to say. It's
It's fine. I'm fine to talk about it, but I'm aware that it's not the most upbeat thing. So if you don't want to, it's fine.
if you want to share, please do. But don't ever feel like you're obliged to tell me such things. I
Uh,
know. I just don't know what'd be worse. Like if it was somebody you knew and trusted who didn't give you that choice, or just a stranger.
mm,
They're both. There's no good way. It's
no, there are some ways that are there are some ways that are better than others.
Mm.
Giving them that choice is important, and I don't know, even if they don't give you that choice, it's better to have it done before you have passed away.
Oh, jeez.
That happens. That happens. It's not rare. I mean, no, it's not. It's not common. Some vampires, some kindred, are done posthumously. Uh,
Like, was it an accident, or did they kill you and then make invite you?
um, well, in my case, I was I was investigating a particular lead for a case.
Mm-hmm.
I followed this guy to a warehouse, and there was a group of people there, and they restrained me, and the guy I was following, stabbed me and killed me. And then, from what I was told, it was maybe a few hours later, I woke up with no heartbeat, and the first thing I see is the face of the man who killed me. It's an odd thing, and I don't know. I don't think I would choose this. And you know, and I think that everyone should have a choice in that,
Mm-hmm.
especially with this life. It's not for everyone. It's not easy. I mean, I feel like I'm just going on about my problems. I really do.
No, not at all. I mean, like I said, the understatement. Like,
It's look, it's.
oh,
I've had years to. I've had several years to deal with it, and
that doesn't make it right suddenly. Like, it's
no,
okay.
I know, I know. I guess
Do you speak to him? Like, does he? I don't know. Does he toot to you, pop in, or?
I think in the last 3 years I've spoken to him 2 or 3 times.
You prefer it that way?
Yeah, it's not easy talking to the person who did this to you, let alone get what he did.
Ugh.
And he seems to think I should be grateful for it. And he tried to convert me to the vampire religion.
Okay, so vampire religion.
Vampire religion, yeah, it's a thing.
So there's there's clans, there's so like the different kind of gangs, and then there are other gangs that are also. Oh my god. Okay, what's the vampire religion?
It's a form of it basically think of it as the mirrored version of Christianity. Like it's I don't know a lot about it. I have the book to read just for curiosity sake, but the way it was described to me was the say Jesus is like the is it say Jesus is black in just in the color, like the color sense,
Okay.
of like, then you have our version, which is white. It's a direct contrast, right? The opposite almost.
Okay.
In I think there's like actual like kind human religion is more hopeful and about salvation, and whereas ours is about suffering and penance and punishment.
You mean Old Testament versus New Testament? Is that what you're saying? So sounds like that's
Even
what
then,
it's
I
saying.
think the Old Testament is more hopeful than our version. Believe me, I read the Old Testament and the New Testament,
I know, and
and from
the
what I've
Old
heard,
Testament is actually fucking terrifying.
it is
But
terrible.
okay.
It is terrible,
So,
but our version is our book. From what I've read so far, from what I've heard, it's a lot worse. It's a lot worse. It's
take it you take it you don't believe it then.
I don't. I
Parts?
I think I'm conflicted. I would never. I would never. From what I've read, I would never take it at face value and just have a literal interpretation. But I think there are certain, from what Vlatsky said, there are certain messages and meanings that you could take away that makes some sense to me. I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
completely convinced, but
Fair enough. No harm in taking bits and pieces that,
yeah,
you know,
there might be
either
a
ensure
lesson or
or
two.
open your view.
There might
Yeah.
be a lesson or two that can help. But I don't know if
Is
I'm ready
that
to
ski
fully
gonna
commit.
try and convert me?
No, because you're not. Because you're not one of us.
Good.
You know, he won't try and convert you, but
What does it say anything about ghoulie ghouls in there?
I don't know. I haven't read all of it yet. I can't imagine it would, but we'll see. But no. If Vlatsky, I think, well, Bob asked you to meet with Vlatsky, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm going to.
He's while he is an archbishop, he's a very insightful man and genuinely listens and seems to care about what you have to say. I mean, I've only met him, like, had a proper conversation with him once, and he made me feel like I was genuinely, like, he genuinely cared about what I had to say.
Hmm.
He's a nice. I don't know if he's a nice guy. As I said, I've only had one conversation with him, but he's
Compassionate?
yeah, he seems compassionate, and like he, yeah, genuinely cares and is invested, which is, it's unfortunately a rare thing amongst our kind.
Hmm.
So it's nice when you find someone who is. And
So as he doesn't get me to do confessions, I'm sure we'll get along well.
that's bloody,
Does he do that?
He won't get you to do confessions, no.
Good.
He only expects confessions from those who are committed. Obviously, he'd love for more kindred to go into confessions, but he only expects it from those who follow the religion.
Does Bob follow the religion?
No. He's just Vlatsky is also a Nosferatu, so they're clanmates. So
yeah,
they I imagine they have more of a friendship in that regard rather than a community in a religious sense. But I might go to confessions at one point. And it makes it just kind of like almost like drifts off. You can see like the wheels turning in his head, thinking about like just considering why he would need to go to confessions.
Just say it. Takes a second. It goes. Sounds like you've got quite the list.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah. I don't know. There's not a vampire who doesn't have some kind of baggage. I don't think.
I figured.
I think
comes
just
with the territory, right?
It does, yeah. Yeah, we might do that at some point. But hey, that's for another time. I've got a lot on my plate at the moment.
If you ever need, I don't know, somebody unexpected to help out with a stakeout or listen in or anything, be bait.
I'm not into using people as bait. if
It's okay. I'll just punch them in the throat. No.
I mean, that would be hilarious.
Would be more than just knock them out.
That would be yeah. If I wanted to use anyone's bait, I'd probably just use myself, because at least I can dodge things quite easily.
Okay, fair point.
But so, I appreciate the offer. I think Bob will have plenty for you to do soon enough. And word of advice: if Bob ever invites you to go spelunking,
that sounds like spelunking. Is that cave divey stuff?
If he ever invites you to go spelunking,
yeah,
and you say yes,
of course I'll fucking say yes. That sounds awesome.
First of all, I'll see you there, because we always go spelunking.
Always go spelunking. Okay.
Secondly, and he points to the gun, bring that.
Okay. Thirdly, can I get some ammo from you?
Yeah, and he just opens up one of his like pouches on his belt and just hands you a small box of ammo.
How do you reload?
Okay, that's actually a very good question. So, and he just kind of takes the gun. He takes the gun and he just kind of shows you like pulling the cylinder like out to the side, and then you see here, so you just move it out like that, and then you see the holes, and you take one of the bullets and you put it in. And you take one of the bullets and you put it in the slot, and then you fold it back in, and then you pull the hammer down. This thing here at the top, this bit at the top that you kind of pull back, you pull the hammer back, and then you're ready to fire.
Okay.
Okay, but remember about what I said about safety.
Oh yeah, safety down means it's off. On, sorry, yeah, on. I remember the first way you told me.
I did.
Yeah,
that was my mistake.
Down means on. Yeah, sorry.
That
means on. Everyone shoot. Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
It's all right.
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you for listening to my ramblings. I came to teach you about shooting, and you listened to my my ramblings of my problems. I apologize.
Okay. Can I make one rule? And you got a pinky. Pinky promised me
Oh,
this.
geez. Okay.
No, apologies are banned unless it's like actually serious. Apologies are banned.
Is there going to be like an apology jar where I have to put a quarter in every time I apologize? And
Sure.
sure.
I was going to say I'll just bring even more ridiculous glasses in that you'd have to wear, but I quarters are fine. Or we'll go quarters.
You'll be making money off of it. All right, fine. He'll pinky swear to that.
Currently, you owe me like $10 worth of quarters from other people.
No, that was this.
Okay,
that
we
only
start
comes
from
into
now.
effect after that pinky promise.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Anyway, thank you, and I hope that's helped the lessons.
It has helped a lot, and she'll kind of, try to pull the cylinder out again. It's still like she almost catches her finger every time. It's like I'll have a plan.
It takes a bit of practice.
Thank you for teaching me, and
It's all right.
for being good company.
Oh, likewise. Anyway, I'll leave that set up so that you can come back here and practice whenever you want. I wouldn't recommend practicing on people.
You sure? I mean, there's some people who are just annoying. They need to be shut up.
Okay. While I understand, believe me, I understand.
We could get standees of people. Ooh. Yeah. As targets.
Maybe. I'll look into that. But yeah, if you want practice, I'll leave these set up for you.
Thank you.
But look after yourself, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you very soon.
I look forward to it.
So do I. All right.
Have a good one.
Thank you. You too, Sabina. Take care of yourself. And then Mason zips out the room.